This is chemistry paper 1 from May June 2022 O levels. The first question states that a student investigates the rate of reaction between calcium carbonate and hydrochloric acid. So there is a reaction between calcium carbonate and hydrochloric acid. Calcium carbonate is given as a solid and hydrochloric acid is a solution or aqueous. So volume of a gas in the syringe is recorded after 1 minute. The experiment is repeated using different concentrations of hydrochloric acid. Thus, which additional pieces of apparatus are essential for the investigation? One is balance, measuring cylinder, and stop clock. So, what is this? Question states that is that it is measuring the rate of reaction. So, rate means time. So, stop clock is essential. Another thing is the concentration that we have to note. What does it state? That concentration is the measure of mass per unit, moles per unit volume, and volume has to be measured, so volume by the measuring cylinder. And moles, if we look at the moles, so moles are N is equal to mass over the MR or the relative molecular mass, and mass has to be measured by what? A balance. So 1 is also required. So the best answer is for 1 is 1, 2 and 3. C, D is the best answer. Question number 2. Which statement is correct? A mixture of liquid with boiling points which differ by 35 degrees Celsius can be separated by distillation. Yes, they can be separated by distillation. They just have to have a difference between their boiling points. So yes, they can be separated as they have a difference like 35 degrees Celsius. So this is correct option, but we look at the other as well. So locating agents are needed to identify the colors in the ink. So ink, it will be colorful, but locating agent here, they are just used for colorless. So locating agents, they are just used for colorless compounds. Colorless compounds. So this is not the correct option. C says that the desalination, removal of salt from seawater to produce pure water, is achieved by fractional distillation. So this is wrong, as it is achieved by simple distillation, not fractional distillation, as there are just two substances, salt and water, so they can be separated by the simple distillation. There's no need for fractional distillation, as there are only one liquid, so no need for the column. D says that the RF value of a dye in a chromatogram can be calculated using the formula. So retention factor is equal to distance moved by the solvent divided by distance moved by the spot. So this is also wrong, as RF value is the S or distance moved by the spot of a particular agent or ink divided by the distance moved by the solvent. So this is also wrong. It is interchanged. So this is wrong. A is the correct option. So question number 3 says that some reactions of aqueous solution of compound X are given. It says that when few drops of sodium hydroxide are added, a white precipitate is formed. So a compound X, so when sodium hydroxide is added, a white precipitate, so it reacts with sodium hydroxide, then it must be an ionic substance. So it will have a positive ion and a negative ion and a negative ion. Sodium hydroxide is used for the cations, positive ions. So in aluminium, calcium and zinc, a white precipitate is formed. In aluminium and zinc, white precipitate is formed just by the few drops, and also in calcium. But in calcium, when the sodium hydroxide goes into an excess, then a white precipitate remains. However, in zinc and aluminium, it disappears. But with few drops, it forms in the 3 of 10. When dilute nitric acid is added, the mixture is warmed and a gas is formed. Okay, the gas decolorizes the potassium magnate. So potassium magnate is an oxidizing agent, then the gas must be a reducing agent. When dilute nitric acid or aqueous and aqueous barium nitrate are added, no visible reaction occurs. Okay, now we will see the options. What can be deduced from the identity of X? Okay, so aluminium sulfate. Okay, aluminium is correct, but sulfur here is the problem. Sulfur is also an oxidizing agent. So oxidizing agent do not react with the oxidizing agent. So this is the wrong option. Here calcium sulfide. The option is correct, but we have to look at the others as well. X must contain aluminium sulfide or zinc sulfide. Okay, we have also, this is also correct. X must contain aluminium sulfide, calcium sulfide or zinc sulfide. So all these three are correct. Sulfide ions are a reducing agent. So this is the correct option. D is the correct option. As this is also this there. So this is D is the best answer here. Question number 4. Which sets of changes to the conditions increases the volume of a gas? So we will apply the Boyle's law here. Boyle's law. It states that the pressure is inversely proportional to the volume. So when pressure increases, volume decreases. So and here is volume is increasing, so pressure would be decreasing. If we talk about the temperature, so temperature, this is constant also. So pressure, so volume is directly proportional to the temperature. So when temperature increases, volume also increases. So temperature would also increase. A is the best answer. Boyle's law is applied here. So question number 5 states that ethylamine gas C2H5NH2 and HCl gas, hydrochloric gas, react together to form a white solid, ethylamine hydrochloride. At which position would a ring of white solid form? So this is a question of diffusion, and we have to calculate the MR, the relative molecular mass of these two compounds. If you look at here, that there are 2 carbons, 5 hydrogens, 1 nitrogen and 2 hydrogens. So 24 for 2 carbons, 5 for 5 hydrogens, 14 for nitrogen and 2 for hydrogen. So we will calculate it. 24 plus 5 plus 14 plus 2. It will give us 45 gram per mole molecular mass here, and MR of HCl would be 35.5 plus 1 for hydrogen. It will give us 36.5 gram per mole. So this is simply, we have to compare the both of the MR. So less is of the HCl. So HCl will diffuse more. This vapor would diffuse more, and this will also, but it will be slower. And after this, A would be the most probably the position where the white solid would be formed. Question number 6. Element X can be represented by the symbol X with a mass 14, proton number 6. From this we will get that electrons in this atom is 6 and neutrons are 8. Which statement about an atom of element X are correct? First, it has 6 electrons. So 1 is correct. It has 8 protons. No, it has 6 protons. So this is wrong. It is an isotope of carbon. if you look at this, carbon has 6 proton number and 12 mr. This has 6 proton number but 14 mr, and isotope have same atomic number but different mass number. So this is an isotope of carbon. For nitrogen, no, nitrogen has a proton number is 7, but for this X is 6. There is no change in the atomic number for term isotope, so this is wrong. So 1 and 3 are correct. C is the correct answer. Question number 7. Two isotopes of chlorine, Cl35 and Cl37. Using these isotopes and carbon-12 and hydrogen, these are standard carbon and hydrogen, how many different relative molecular masses are possible for compound with molecular formula C2H3Cl3, 2, 3, 4 or 5? So this is a very tricky question. What we have to do, that we have to find the number of combinations of molecular mass that are possible to get from these two isotopes in this equation. Simply we just let this isotope X, this isotope's Y, and we make the possible combinations for Cl3. So we make possible combinations for 3 terms X and Y, like this. That's X, X and X. There's Cl35, 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 or Y, 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 Cl30, Cl37, 37, 37. Whereas we can also like X, Y, 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 X, X. So except for these 4, there will be no combinations regarding 2 isotopes in 3 places. So there are 4 possible combinations by using these 2 isotopes. So C is the correct answer. Question number 8 says that which row is correct? So from this column, which are the elements? Graphite is carbon, so graphite is an element, iron is an element. This is correct, this is correct. Iron, water, methane, and these water is molecule. So C and D are wrong. C and D are wrong. Okay, methane and water are compounds. Yes, they are compounds. CH4, H2O, sand, SO2, silica, silicon dioxide, and water, H2O. So these both are correct. We have to look into the mixtures. Mixtures, air and copper. Copper is a metal. Copper is an element. So this is the wrong option and B is the right answer. Here question number 9 says that which statement about the ionic compounds is correct? So they are all solid at room temperature. Okay, we let it. But they all conduct electricity at room temperature. Room temperature has no connection with the electrical conductivity. It whether have to be solid, aqueous or solid. So no room temperature have no effect on the electrical conductivity. So B is incorrect. They are all soluble. Not every ionic compound is soluble. Like for example, sodium carbonate, as all carbonates are insoluble, and sodium carbonate is an ionic compound, so all are not soluble. So C is incorrect. They have strong intermolecular forces. It is ever remembering thing that intermolecular forces in whether generally every compound, the intermolecular forces are weak, but strong forces are whether the van der Waals forces in covalent compounds or electrostatic forces in the ionic compounds. Intermolecular forces are just between the molecules, so they have to be weak. D is also incorrect and A is the right option, and all are solid at room temperature. So A is the best correct answer. So question number 10. A molecule of tetrafluorosilane SiF4 is shown in the dot and cross diagram. Only outer shell are shown. Outer shell electrons are shown. Okay, which statement is correct? Each molecule of SiF4 has exactly 16 pair of electrons. So option A is very, very tricky, that I am 100% sure that I have done it wrong in my CIs. I have exactly this paper. I had done my CIs in this year. So I am pretty sure that I had marked this. And we have to note that only outer shell electrons are shown, only outer shell. And this is asking about the whole molecule. So there are 16 pairs only in the outer shells, not in the whole. So whole there will be more than 16. So this is a wrong option. Now these 16 pairs are only of the outer shells, not of the whole molecule. Okay, so if A is wrong, in B, in SiF4, both silicon and the fluorine have the same electronic configuration as neon. So where is neon? So neon, here, neon, it has 10 electrons. So by 10, if a neon has 10 electrons, so 2 in the first shell and 8 in the outer shell. Then we have silicon. So if you look at silicon, it is greater, it is bigger than the neon, so its electronic configuration will be different as well. So there are 14, so 2, 8, 10, 4. So this is completely different. However, fluorine has same as neon, but silicon has different. So B is also not right. So B is also incorrect. Molten SiF4 will conduct electricity. No, this will not conduct electricity because SiF4 is a covalent compound, and covalent compound do not conduct electricity. So C is also incorrect. Okay, then C is incorrect. So D is telling us, so D is obviously correct, but SiF4 has a low melting point. So that's an understood thing, that covalent compounds all have a very low melting point. So D is the correct option. Okay, question number 11. Question number 11 tells us that this table shows us the properties that are associated with the metals. Which row is correct? Then we have malleable. Okay, we have to tell which reason is good. So because these both are the properties of metal. So option A tells us that it's malleable. Malleable means that they can be molded into shapes like utensils, like mobile phones or anything like that. Uh, they can be molded. So what's the reason behind it? The layers of anions can slide over each other. Okay. The structure, if you draw the structure like this, they have to be close. So this. Okay, this structure has positive ions. So positive ions are cations, not anions. So this is wrong. Okay, the layers of metal cations slide over each other. Okay, this is correct. This is correct. But also conduct electricity. They conduct electricity. Why metallic structure contain mobile ions or metallic structure contain mobile cations? No, they contain electrons, mobile electrons. So B is the correct answer here. Question number 12. That was pretty easy. Okay, question number 12 says that an aqueous silver nitrate AgNO3 reacts with aqueous potassium chromate K2CrO4 to give a yellow precipitate. Also note in these types of questions that precipitate, PPT, you will say that these are always solid state. Okay, what is the ionic equation for this reaction? Okay, for this my tip will be, do not read any of the options, make your own ionic equation. So I will do it here. Okay, question test says us that AgNO3 aqueous form, it react with K2CrO4, that is also aqueous, to form Ag2CrO4, that's solid, and potassium nitrate, and potassium nitrate is KNO3 aqueous. Okay, we now have to break all of these. Only aqueous compounds will break into ions, not solids. So Ag plus NO3 with a negative charge plus K plus CrO4 2 minus, this will go here, and Ag2CrO4 remains as it is because it is solid, and in solid state ions do not break, or they are not free, and this is aqueous. So potassium and plus NO3 minus. So when you reach this, you just have to cut the same things on the both sides. So potassium will be cut and NO3 will be cut. Write the remainings here. Ag plus CrO4 2 minus, that will give us Ag2CrO4. Okay, this is the answer. We will find it here. So by this, okay, so all these, this is incorrect, this is incorrect. Okay, Ag plus Cr2. Okay, so you do not have to get into balancing, but if it is given, then you must note the difference and then balance it. Okay, here it is 2 minus and it is minus. This is the difference. Minus is wrong. So C is the correct option. Question number 13. What is the relative formula mass of anhydrous sodium carbonate? So anhydrous means it does not have any water molecule. So simple Na2CO3. So Na2CO3, we have to calculate its molecular formula mass, or you can say simple MR. So 23 multiplied by 2 plus 12 for carbon plus 3 into 16. We will calculate it using this. Plus 12 plus 3 multiplied by 16. It's give us 106 gram per mole. This is the formula mass. So C is the correct answer. So C is the correct answer here. So question number 14. What is the greatest mass of solid? So this was the most lengthiest question here. So 100 centimeter cube with 1 mole of 1 mole per decimeter cube. So this is the concentration. So first we have to make that, we have to calculate M, and we have given the concentration, things in the concentration. So from here, if we look at the formula of concentration, like here, okay, so concentration is moles per unit volume. So there is nothing about mass in this formula. We have given volume, we have given concentration. To do this question quickly, we have to make a single formula and then change the value for the 4 of the options, and then interchange the values and quickly get the answer and mark the correct one. So do not do this by single wise putting these values into first this formula, then into the mole formula. Make it a 1. So we have to calculate moles. It will give us concentration multiplied by volume. Then we have moles, so we have to calculate mass. So moles is equal to mass over mR. So mass is equal to moles. So moles are equal to concentration multiplied by volume. So concentration multiplied by volume multiplied by mR will give us the mass. So this is our own formula. So to calculate mass, we have to multiply concentration into volume into mR. So here we have 100 centimeter cube, and the volume and the concentration is in dm cube. So change it in dm cube. To change centimeter cube into dm cube, we have to divide it by 1000. So 100 divided by 1000 will give us 0.1 dm cube. So this will become 0.1 dm cube. 500 centimeter cube. So 500 divided by 1000, that will give us half 0.5 dm cube. All those things will remain same. Yeah, I just got it. Okay. So now we have to calculate the MR of these. So MR of sodium hydroxide is 23 plus 16 plus 1 give us 40. And like all of these, we have to calculate the MR of the others as well. So 2 plus 32 plus 16 multiplied by 4. so that's 98. So for this is 98, and for potassium hydroxide, that's 39 plus 16 plus 1, that give us 55. So 55. And for HCl is 35.5 plus 1, that's give us 36.5. 36.5. Now we have to calculate mass. For mass, now we just have to put these values in these formulas, in this formula. So I will just do the one, and I will just do the first one. Okay, for first one we have 0.1 decimeter for A, we have 0.1 decimeter cube multiplied by 1 concentration multiplied by its MR, that's 40. It will give us 0.1 multiplied by 1 multiplied by 40, give us 4. So 4 grams. So for B, C and D, the values are these. So B for 2.4 grams, C is 5.6 gram, and D is 0.71 gram. So we have to mark the greatest mass. So greatest mass is 5.6. C is the correct answer here. Next is question number 16. How many tons of aluminium oxide Al2O3 are required to produce 27 tons of aluminium? So basically we have to look at that. We have to calculate first. We have to calculate the MR of this. So MR of aluminium would be 27 multiplied by 2 multiplied by plus 16 multiplied by 3. 102 gram per mole is the MR of aluminium oxide. So we have to calculate of the aluminium. So aluminium and Al2O3. So MR of this is 102, and mass of aluminium in aluminium oxide is 27 multiplied by 2. This is the point, that there are 2 aluminium atoms in one molecule. So 2 multiplied by 27, 2 multiplied by 27. So it will give us 54. So 54 here. Now these are the MR, and this is the, now we will ratio it with the mass. So we require 27 tons of aluminium, so 27 tons, and we now we have to calculate that how much aluminium oxide do we need. So we will put an unknown x. So we will multiply this with this, and then this is this. So 54x is equal to 27 multiplied by 102, give us 2754. X is equal to, this will come and divide here. So 2754 divided by 54 give us 51 answer. So 51 is the correct answer. So question number 16. Dilute sulfuric acid is electrolyzed. Hydrogen and oxygen gas are produced. Okay. Which row correctly describes? So this is electrolysis question. Which row is correct? Okay, oxygen is produced at. So oxygen has a charge of O2 minus, so it is an anion, and anions discharge at anode. So anodes. Hydrogen is H plus, it is an cation, and cation discharges at cathodes. A concentration of the acid. So what is happening, basically hydrogen and oxygen are getting out of the solution. So hydrogen and oxygen means water is getting out of the solution. So when we add something to the acid, it's like when we add more water to the acid, it will become dilute. When we remove the acid from the when we remove the water from the acid, it will become concentrated, and here we are removing water, so the concentration will increase, and B is the correct answer. So next is again electrolysis, question number 17. So question number 17 says that aluminium can be extracted by electrolysis of aluminium oxide Al2O3 dissolved in molten cryolite. Okay, which reactions take place during the electrolysis? So basically, okay, we do not have to read, we can make our own. Okay, aluminium will discharge at, okay, aluminium is a, what aluminium is, it is a 3+ charge, so it is a cation, and it will discharge at the cathode. So aluminium, sorry. So aluminium is a cation and it will discharge at cathode. Oxygen is an anion, so it will discharge at anode. Okay, so by this is incorrect, this is incorrect, and for this is incorrect, and this is incorrect. Now we have to look it in this. Okay, so here oxygen 2 minus give us oxygen gas is produced. When oxygen is electrolyzed, oxygen gas is produced. So this is incorrect. And here O2 gas is produced and 3 plus aluminium and everything is all that. So D is the correct option. Here we just have to note that oxygen gas is produced. Oxygen atom is never produced. Oxygen gas is produced in the electrolysis. So D is the correct answer here. Okay, last from 18. Which reaction is exothermic? Combustion of methane. Yes, that's understood thing that combustion is an exothermic process. So A is the correct answer. Question number 19. Okay. What is the correct balanced equation and enthalpy change for delta H for the complete combustion? Okay, complete combustion means it is exo process, is an exothermic process, and exo has a negative charge. So the positive charge will be cut off. Okay, now we just have to balance the equation. Use any method that you use for balancing. I am going to use my little trick and you can also learn it from here. So C4H9OH burns in the presence of oxygen to give us CO2 and water. Okay, so we will put this as A, this as B, this as C, this as D. Okay, so for carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen, there are 4 A's in carbon and there is 1 C. Hydrogen, there are 9, 10, 10A, and there are 2 D's for hydrogen. Oxygen, there are 1 A and the product side, 2 B's, add 2 B, and there are 2 C's and there are 1 D in the reactant side. So this is the product side, this is the reactant side. You can use any method for the balancing, but for me this is the fastest method that I had used in my examination as well. So it is not compulsory, use any of yours. So we just let any one of these is equal to 1. Let A is equal to 1. You can let A or C or B or D is equal to 1. Okay, so when we let A is equal to 1, then C become 4 as A is 1. So 10, 1, 2D. So 10, 1, 10 by 2 is equal to D. D is 5. So D is equal to 5. And here A is 1, 2, B is unknown, C is 4, D is 5. So 1 plus 2B is equal to 8 plus 5. That becomes 2B is equal to 8 plus 5, 8 plus 5 minus 1. So 8 plus 5 minus 1 becomes 12 by 2 is equal to B. So this will be cut and B will become 6. So B is equal to 6. Now just put these values as in order. A is 1, B is 6, C is 4, D is 5. Now just match these from the question. Okay, so by question number 19, 5, 5, so this is incorrect. Okay, we have just to look into these. So 5 and 6. So there is 6 in oxygen. This is 5, this is incorrect. So this is the equation that matches with this equation. So C is the correct answer. Bromate, question number 20, that bromate, bromide and hydrogen ions react according to the equation shown. Some apparatuses for measuring how the rate of reaction varies over the time is suggested. Okay, which apparatus is suitable to measure the rate of reaction for this particular example? So first we have to look at the gas ranges given. So there is no gas producing, there is aqueous solutions and a liquid, so there's no need for gas syringe. So this is incorrect. So we don't need gas syringe. Balance. So balance, we use a balance to measure mass, and in rate of reaction mass must be changing. Okay, but in this reaction, nothing is escaping from the vessel. Every liquid, all are liquid, and every liquid is in within the vessel. So there would be no use of a balance or use of mass in measuring the rate of reaction. And pH meter, yes, pH meter. Here there are presence of more ions, and here the presence of ion decreases. So pH would we would can decrease or increase according to the readings that it will give. So pH meter can be used as their ions are reducing here. They are becoming molecules. So number of ions reduces. So may or may not the pH will decrease. So pH can be used here against time to measure the rate of reaction here.